life goes on even though you fail.
20% ng pinag-aralan mo ma-apply mo, 80% of it is nakikisama.
You just have to keep going and mas mahalin mo yung sarili mo. Kasi at the end of the day, wala ka namang kalaban kundi sarili mo lang.
Welcome to the first episode of the Dirt on Geology, the podcast where we explore the science behind the Earth's processes and unravel the stories behind a geologist's adventure who explored them. I am Cyril Gabriel Calaluan, and together with my colleagues,
Dan Louie Gadano.
Jet Kausaping.
And Rain Gwyneth Arceo.
in today's episode, we are going to talk about the truth of geology, as we will reveal all the real-world aspects of geology beyond the textbook's definition and theories, with the personal experiences and adventures of our guest geologists. So today, we will be having two professional geologists whose experience and achievements in their profession are beyond commendable and excellent. They will share with us their thoughts and reactions to various questions and topics that we prepared. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest speakers. Our first guest is an Argentinian-Filipino licensed geologist who graduated from Adamson University and currently working as a geological and geotechnical engineer at Hala Philippines Construction and Development Incorporated. Before that, he spearheaded safety programs within both national government and university environments as a chief safety officer. He also worked at Semirara Mining Company, or Semirara Mining and Ore Corporation in 2021 as an ISO document controller and a cadet geologist. Throughout his career in the academe, he also works as a consultant for various private geotechnical engineering companies. He also became a laboratory and field research assistant in Marine Science Institute in UP Diliman in 2017. So let's not waste any more time. Let's give it up for Mr. Abel Angel Ablang. Let's give him a warm round of virtual applause.
Well, good evening everyone. Good evening sa viewers.
Our second speaker is a 27-year-old geology graduate from Adamson University in 2018. In 2021, he finished his certificate in teaching program at De La Salle University Dasmariñas campus. In 2022, he obtained his license as a professional teacher majoring in physical science. He had teaching experiences in various universities, mainly as a senior high school science instructor and as a research instructor as well. Also in 2022, he worked as a junior geologist at Makilala Mining Company Incorporated. He was mainly assigned to the drill site for the initial geotechnical logging and core sampling of the cores. From time to time, he mapped out the area as part of the geological mapping team. He also worked as a cluster coordinator under the Operations Center and as a project officer of Project Reach. It is a 2-year emergency communications project funded by the Australian government at the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation. He currently works as a technical assistant for response in the Department of Education Central Office under the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service. Let's please welcome Mr. David Paul Mendoza and let's give him a warm round of virtual applause.
Hi, good evening everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Ablang, Mr. Mendoza. Before we start, I just wanted to ask you, in 2 words, kamusta ang buhay geologist or your life as a professional geologist?
As a geologist, talagang pagod ka sa field shop. But in some fields naman of geology, may mga office works. Nandun yung pagod, but it's worth it. Ikaw, Paul.
Sa akin naman, in 2 words, challenging and then exciting. No? Challenging in the sense na you have to do things na beyond your expectations kasi nga hindi madaling maging scientist, and then exciting kasi nga more on adventure pag geologist, and lalo na kapag naka-immerse tayo sa field, so masaya siya, challenging, fulfilling, exciting. And
So, can you start by sharing what inspired you to become a geologist, or was there a particular moment or experience that sparked your interest in the Earth's processes?
initially, no, I didn't want to become a geologist. I have always wanted to become an educator, majoring in English, and eventually become school paper advisor. But doors closed for me as I went to the Philippine Normal University. When that moment happened, no, I looked for another school, and it happened na Adamson University is just beside the campus of PNU. And so I looked for courses, no, dun sa Adamson. And then ang inilagay ko initially ay civil engineering at saka computer science. Wala lang, trip ko lang kasi hindi ko alam kung anong kukunin ko doon. Ayoko namang mag-eduk doon kasi parang PNU is parang the standard of everyone when it comes to teaching. Ayun, I took the entrance exam, and then I passed the entrance exam, and then it says there na you can enroll in any subject that you wanted to. And then napag-isip-isip ko, mag-civil engineering ba ako? Anong magiging future ko dito? Parang hindi ko naman trip, ganun. And then, nakita ko meron ng BS Geology. Tapos, sinerch ko, anong meron sa BS Geo? Shucks, sabi ko, shucks, ang laki ng sahod. Sige, na lang ito-take ko. Tapos, ang deal ko sa sarili ko, kapag napasa ko siya, pag napasa ko siya into years, tapos wala akong bagsak, ito tuloy-tuloy ko na. Awa ng Diyos, nagkabagsak ako mga, third year na ako nung majors na. So, tinuloy-tuloy ko na siya. So, ayun, the rest was history. It opened a lot of opportunities to me and for me, as I graduate geology sa Adamson University. And ayun, I hope na ganun din yung mangyari sa inyo.
When I was in high school, there was a false privilege at manay, kailangan nakakot sa buhay ang things mga pamilya. So, looking for a high-paying job back then. And sabi ko, ano ba yung geology? I look for universities that would offer geology at the time. Then, late na kasi maaga nagpa-entrance exam si UP. Like, hindi kami mayaman. So, saan na pwede? So, I tried to look for schools na may university program. At least maka-enroll ako sa geology. And then, I enrolled in Mapua. Then, as time goes by, I transferred to Adamson due to financial constraint. Doon, nung nandun na ako sa Adamson, doon talaga nag-dig deeper yung pagmamahal ko sa course na yun. I already love the course, although due to fieldworks, due to my seniors, and other things. Kaya yun, masaya. Hindi ko naman pinagsisihan. I'm glad where I am right now.
So ayan, nakakatuwa naman pong marinig yung mga background stories nyo, kung paano nyo po minahal yung work ninyo and yung field po na ito. And as of now, for me po, the thing that makes me inspired to continue this path is the love I have for nature, since I am a very adventurous person din. So that's why I really enjoyed all of field works that we conducted outside the school. And also, yun nga po, naririnig ko rin po sa karamihan na high salary nga rin daw po ang field na ito. So, titingnan ko po sa future kung tunay po. So, how did those experiences shape your academic journey po?
My experiences, my undergrad years was really fun. Because despite na sarili mong bulsa mo manggagaling in fieldwork, syempre private school, unlike the other state universities na gagastos talaga din. But despite na kahit maglabas, it's like an investment. So every time na may fieldwork, hindi ko siya tinignan as gastos. Then talagang hindi kami mayaman na I really find the means to have a money for the fieldworks kasi iba yung na nakikita sa field compare mo sa libro na sobrang perfect mga example. Pagdating sa field, parang hindi ganito yung nasa libro. And then that's one thing, yung fieldworks. And second is the connections that na be built. Unlike sa mga organizations, unlike sa mga events, I've met a lot of people, professionals, and then sila rin yung nag-guide sa amin all throughout, kahit kung pagdating sa OJT, pagdating sa pagtulong sa ibang mga classmates. It is fun for me that time because I'm helping my college colleagues and classmates and as a Kuya A, and ganun. Yun yung mga fun moments. Ikaw ba, Paul?
Nako, totoo yan. Alala ko si Abel, ang pakilala niya sa amin siya daw si Kuya A, kahit magkaka-level lang kami dati sa Adamsons. Parang, huy, magkabatch lang tayo. Di ba? Anyway, during my undergrad, it taught me a lot of things, no? Kasi back when I was in elementary and high school, I was an achiever. I never experienced failure until I took geology. So, first time kong bumagsak nung nag-take ako ng geology. And doon ko na-realize na life goes on even though you fail. No, you just have to continue. And as you continue your journey, doon mo makikita yung worth mo, kung sino ka ba talaga, and kung gaano ka ka-resilient. Hindi ko naman niro-romanticize yung pagiging resilient ng mga geology students, no, pero dito mo talaga ma-experience lahat, no? Yung pagod, puyat kapag ka nasa fieldwork ka, wala kayong tulog, pagod kayo sa biyahe, tapos kinabukasan kailangan mong gumising ng maaga kasi kailangan mong maglakad, magmapa, 'di ba? I'm sure na experience niyo 'yan kasi kakagaling niyo lang sa fieldwork, and then sa gabi hindi kayo makakapagpahinga kasi kailangan niyo gumawa ng report, may reporting kayo, and those experiences really shaped me as to who I am right now. Kasi madadala niyo 'yan. Yung mga nangyayari sa fieldwork, it will be carried when you start to work. Part yun ng magiging work ethics nyo, especially kapag may mga deadlines kayong na kailangan ng boss nyo or ng company nyo. So, ayun, maraming mga maituturo sa atin yung geology, no? Ayun, normal lang talaga na bumagsak. Siguro ang swerte mo kung wala kang bagsak, pero ayun, you just have to keep going and mas mahalin mo yung sarili mo. Kasi at the end of the day, wala ka namang kalaban kundi sarili mo lang.
So, thank you po sir sa mga share niyo po. Nakaka-relate po kasi kami po, kasi kakatapos lang po ng fieldwork nga po. Sulit nga po yung bayad for, hindi na po parang bayad kasi po may nagain po kaming maraming experience dahil po. Tapos, and now, it's really great to hear po how those experiences influence your career path. I hope it will be the same for us in. So, curious question lang po. As an aspiring geologist, we're really interested in hearing about what a typical day looks like for your profession po, which is geology. So, meron po ba talagang typical day sa field nyo as a geologist?
Siguro the most common thing as a typical day sa mga geologists is you start your day a night before. Because lahat ng preparation for tomorrow's fieldwork will be a night before. Kain mo, baon mo, you'll be going to the field. Walang bilihan ng tubig, walang bilihan ng pagkain doon. So, you'll be bringing it. And then, syempre, yung meds mo. After fixing those, syempre, tutulog ka ng late, gigising ka na maaga. And it's very hard for a morning person, lalo na ako. Sobrang nakakatawan bumangon. Pero ang na lang minsan sa sobrang pagod mo, yung motivation mo na lang is may iwan ka ng service bago pumunta dun sa minahan diba? Kasi pag naiwan ka, sorry ka, pa-absent ka na lang kasi ang laki ng kaltas. Pero as nakapag-feel na kayo after papunta na doon, kailangan ayos lahat ng equipments nyo, kompleto, bawal mo makalimutan mga kailangan mo. Minsan mga forms, mga toolbox forms, safety forms, kailangan lahat yan dala mo. Kasi kung minsan may mga kailangan may record ng data, you need your forms. And then pagdating sa field, syempre, minsan wala nang lunch, kakain ka na late, walang oras-oras doon. Hanap ka na lang ng silong, then kakain kayo, then balik uli sa field. May mga ganong instances pag talagang yung pag-field nyo ay wala pa talagang construction or any nearby na towns. Pero pag nasa minahan naman, may mga oras naman yan. Usually maghihintay ka lang kasi minsan ang tagal bumalik ng truck galing sa taas ng pit papunta doon sa baba. Mga ganun. And then, tatapos yung araw mo after 12 hours of work. Pag uwi mo, parang hindi ka na makagala kasi piliin mo na lang makatulog. You'll just wait for the weekend para gumala. Mga ganun pag nasa remote areas. Pero pag so far, fulfilling naman pag ganun. Pag marami ka naman na-achieve within the day. That's for a typical day for me sa experience ko. Kapol.
Sa akin naman, no, I have to agree with Abel din, no. A typical day of a geologist should be, dapat number 1, pagod ka. Number 2 ay puyat ka. Number 3 ay may araw ka. Parang nung na-immerse ako talaga sa minahan, doon ko na-experience, doon ko na-realize na, geologist na pala ako. So, ganito pala yung buhay ng isang geologist. Kasi, you have to prepare a night before or a day before your duty. Dapat kahit pagod ka, dapat kahit puyat ka, alam mo yung mga bagay-bagay kasi isa kang scientist, isa kang geoscientist at hindi pwedeng tatanga-tanga ka when it comes to the field, no? Kasi there are lots of hazards present when you are in the field. Kaya nga tayo may mga hard hat ganun. And siguro I'm speaking in behalf of or on behalf of those who are in the field, no. Hindi ka parang as a geologist dapat naka-field pads ka, naka-safety shoes ka, ganon. Tapos light lang yung suot mo talaga na damit. Ayun, that's for me a typical day of a geologist. Pero despite all those, no, kailangan mo pa rin lumaban kasi nga may mga pasan-pasan tayo sa na reports na kailangan ng mga boss natin.
Oo, pinapasahod ka nila.
Totoo naman, 'di ba? So kailangan nating mag-deliver despite the puyat, the pagod na meron tayo. Kahit amoy araw ka na, kailangan magawa ka pa rin ng report right after your field. So yun.
So, thank you po. After po namin marinig yung sinabi niyo, I think nagkaroon po kami ng idea of what our future looks like. Like, parang nakakapagod nga po siya, especially if hindi ka morning person. So, ako po personally, hindi rin po kasi ako morning person eh. Pero, since nagko-conduct na rin po kami ng mga fieldwork, mas, kailangan pong mas maaga pumulas. Ganun po. So, we wanted to ask about your fieldwork experiences since fieldwork is an important part of geology. And I know both of you have some fascinating stories to share. So let's start by, what are your most memorable adventures in the field po?
There was a 1 week, I think it's a 1 week field work, roaming around the Central Luzon. So na-field work kami. Ikot namin Central Luzon to North Luzon, going to diverse places, iba't ibang bato, iba't ibang environments. Sobrang, kahit wala akong maintindihan that time sa ibang dinidiscuss ng professor namin. Si Doc Gerardy, he's now teaching sa Partido State. Sobrang dami namin natutunan sa kanya and we just kept the notes kahit di namin naintindihan. Then after a year goes by, after lang sendo namin nag-gets lalo yung mga makita namin sa field, mga diniscuss nila. Also, yun natin fieldwork na pinakamaraming akong sample na nauwi. And some rare rocks as well. Yung Munzo Cyanite. Yun, sobrang saya kasi 60 plus kami. And sobrang saya kasi parang 2 group ata yun. We feel ka.
Ako naman, no, ang isa sa pinaka-paborito kong field ay field namin sa Rio Tuba sa Palawan. Nasa Palawan na yun, so may mga side trip na, aside from the fact na napunta kami ng minahan, na maraming na-experience namin yung mga bagay-bagay na ginagawa doon sa minahan, napakita yung mga laterites, ganun, paano siya minimina. Ayun, may mga side trip kasi, di ba? Aminin natin, kapag nag-field tayo, nilolook forward natin lagi yung mga side trips. And then yun din yung time na parang kakuha kami ng mga metamorphic rocks from an ophiolite doon sa Palawan. And then hindi din pala ganun, well, estudyante pa lang kami so di namin alam. So nag-seek pa kami ng permit sa MGB 4B para lang sakay namin sa eroplano yung mga rock samples na meron kami. Kasi pagkakataon na namin yun eh. Di ba? Parang bragging rights mo na, saan galing yung bato mo? Galing tong Palawan, wag ka. Parang gano'n, di ba? Yun. So, as a geologist, parang matututunan mo talaga na after fieldwork, mag-uuwi ka talaga ng remembrance, no? Kung yung ibang tao ang binibili nilang mga remembrance ay mga damit, keychain, tayong mga geologists or tayong mga geology students, bato talaga yung iuwi natin. To the point na mapapagalitan tayo sa bahay, may uwi ka na namang bato, ano ba yung mga batong yan? Na di nila siguro naiintindihan sa ngayon, no? Pero magiging part kasi yun ng buhay natin as a geologist. And then, ayun, favorite ko din yung structural fieldwork namin sa Baguio, sa buong Cannon Road. So, doon talaga yung parang hardcore na mapping namin na parang assign kami ng 2 kilometers, parang 5 people lang kami, tapos imamapa mo yun, ganun, tapos makakasalubong ka ng mga locals doon sa Baguio, tapos sisitahin ka, anong ginagawa nyo, nagbimina ba kayo? Ayun, so kailangan marunong kang makisama sa mga tao kasi hindi mo alam baka kung anong gawin sa'yo ng mga tao, lalo na nung time na yun, medyo mainit yung mga minahan sa mga tao. And then, field namin sa Corel, sa Nueva Vizcaya, ayun, ang sarap ng pansit kabagan. Yun talaga yung tandaan ko. Pero ayun nga, masaya kasi kapag higher jol na yung fieldwork mo, na pag sa halo-halo mo na lahat ng subjects na natutunan mo, starting from principles of geology hanggang sa kung ano man yung nalalaman mo. So, ayun, mas kaya sa field, no? Bawal nga lang tatanga-tanga. Sorry kung ikat nyo na lang, no? Pero masaya sa field, marami kang matututunan na ma-apply natin hanggang sa magkatrabaho tayo.
Tanda ako nga dati eh. Basta nagkasugat kayo, minus pa.
Ang totoo.
Ganun ka rin yun.
Tapos, pag nagbabiyahe tayo, 1 hour lang talaga yung stopover natin para kumain. Parang it's either i-take out mo yan or bilisan nyo mag-dine in kasi kung hindi, iwan ka ng van. Bahala ka. So, ayun, parang it teaches us discipline din, no? Kasi nga, pagdating natin sa totoong buhay, hindi naman pwedeng pabagal-bagal tayo kasi binabayaran yung oras natin.
Actually, hindi yun panakot eh. Isa sa mga memorable ko din na tipo.
Oo.
Mga ibang classmate natin na iniwan talaga eh.
Totoo. Hindi nyo yung naranasan.
Ay, naranasan nila yun.
Legit.
Class nila dalawa.
Medyo ako lang.
Parang sobrang exciting naman kasi syempre we know as an aspiring geologist po na madami po pong fieldwork po ang ma-experience namin. Most especially recently, we have just been experienced our first fieldwork out of town and all of the things that you've said. We really experienced that in the field. Lalo na po yung sanabi niyo sa mga time management na kapag hindi niyo po binilisan or hindi po kayo nag-adjust ay ang itinerary po ang masisira. Kumbaga, less po yung mas mapupuntahan yung area. So, tapos din po yung pagod namin sa biyahe, sumasabay din po sa init dun sa area. And at this time, I realized that we know that we have to adapt to that kinds of factors and maybe even hardships that we didn't know that we might need someday on our future more expeditions.
So it seems like you've done quite an amazing experience in your profession as a geologist, and most of them are in the mineral exploration industry in many different areas. And I know that sometimes you may have encountered rumors or what we call sabi-sabi to the public, like misconceptions. So we hope that you both clarify some common misconceptions in the field of geology. So with that being said, let's proceed to our next segment, which is addressing common misconceptions and issues about geology or geological processes.
So, do you have rumors or misconceptions po about geology that you've encountered yourself throughout your career? And how do this misunderstanding impact perception and policy decisions related to earth sciences?
Yung pinaka-common, mapa-estudyante man or working is pag sinabi geologist, ibig sabihin kaya nyo ma-predict kailan magkaka-earthquake. Alam nyo kailan sasabog yung kanlaon, yung taal, ganyan. Which is very false. Siyempre, as a geologist, we educate them. Hindi tayo yung mga sarcastic, Kasi marami pa rin until now. Not everyone naman is privileged to have that information. That's one. Yung techniques nga, tatanungin na, ito pa misconception sa geologist. Kayo ba yung sumisipat, yung nagsusukat ng lupa, ganyan, pumipirma? That's another thing. Sabi, hindi. Marunong kaming gumanon. Marunong kami sumipat at magsukat, pero hindi kami license para pumirma. Si Geotech po yun. So that's geodetic. Si geodetic po yun. Yan. So, yan yung mga common misconceptions. With that, even nasa mga offices ng public, sa government, kahit sila, hindi sila masyado aware sa ating courses. Kaya, minsan, nababaliwala lang din yung paano tayo itrato din in terms of salary, in terms of opportunities, compare sa ibang bansa, di ba? Kaya pag sinabi mataas ang sahod ng geology dito, somehow, yes, in the Philippines, pero pag sinabi sa ibang bansa, talagang mataas talaga. But as time goes by, kailangan natin maging competent. We need to take masters, we need to take licenses and everything. If you want to have it. Now, having said those things, magkakaroon ka rin naman ng position sa government as pag geologist ka, pero limited. Hindi kasing katulad ng ibang mga courses. And with this limited opportunities, konti lang din yung nagkakaroon ng voice sa government ng mga geologists sa field natin. And with this, nalilesen din yung mga policies natin with regards to our field sa geology, mga batas na kailangan. We have some strong laws and policies. Gladly naman natutulungan ng ating environment. Pero yun I hope makita din ng yung value natin in the future, makita nila dahan-dahan. And may iwasan yung mga misconception na baby scientist lang yung mga hindi naman yan important. It's not like that. So yun, how about you, Paul?
Ako, I have to agree with what Abella said. Number one, yung sabi niya na malaki daw yung sahod ng mga geologists. Well, yun na yung nakapagpakuha sa amin ni Abel ng geology, di ba? Akala namin. Pero nung nasa real world na kami, in the Philippines pala talaga, very parang nakabaliwala yung mga scientists na katulad natin. Pero I'm speaking on behalf of the earth science teachers, kasi so what you have mentioned kanina, diba? I taught earth science sa senior high school, and lagi kong tinatanong sa mga estudyante, what do you know about geology? The usual answer to me by the students will be, it's the study about rocks. And from that moment, sa lahat ng sections na nahahawakan ko, laging yun yung sinasabi, geology is the study of rocks. Parang from that very moment, kailangan natin siyang i-correct kaagad na geology is not just about studying rocks, because geology, or parang somehow earth science yung katumbas niya sa senior high school, is parang a dynamic subject. It's a dynamic science that involves understanding the earth as a system. And when we say Earth as a system, hindi lang siya studying about rocks, may mga plate tectonics tayo dyan na sinasabi, may geology is parang studying the Earth's history din, so hazards, yung water and climate, everything that revolves doon sa Earth natin ay masasabi nating part ng geology. So yun yung para sa akin, one of the common misconceptions about geology.
Thank you guys for clarifying those misconceptions about the profession that we have. I just realized that most of them serves as an eye-opener. It also clarifies things for those news And I hope mas nalinawan yung ating mga viewers. Mineral exploration is this massive, intricate process that starts way before anyone even thinks about mine. Could you share with us the initial steps in a mineral exploration project? And how do you get started?
So when we say mineral expo, talagang we're sticking sa mining. No? So this is in the mining field. First is, syempre, alam mo yung target. What's your target mineral? So what's your target commodity? I mean, when you say commodity, ano ba gusto natin? Gold, copper ba? Silver? Aluminum? Kung ano man. Knowing the target, so meaning, ano ba yung mga associated na rocks and minerals para makuha mo itong mga to? So, and may listahan ka na. So, ang dami pa yun. Siyempre, alam niyo yan, dami na kayong kinakabisado ngayon. So, to narrow it down, siyempre, ano ba yung available na yun? Doon sa area na yun. Doon sa lugar na yun. Diba? So, knowing that, siyempre, meron tayong geology of the Philippines, meron tayong geology ng area na yun. Nakaka-cancel out yung mga ibang. And then, knowing these things, meron na tayong target na rocks. Ito yung possible na makita natin sa field. When I say possible pa kasi. Kaya ka mag-explore eh. Kasi hindi mo pa 100% sure. Puro related literature lang. Going there requires a lot of reconnaissance. Pagmimitingan nyo yan, ano ba yung mga natin? Ano ba yung gagawin? Ilang days ba? Ito yung budget. Saan tayo mag-i-stay? Ilang oras natin gagawin? I-cover yung area na to. So, depende yun eh. Lahat yan, aayusin nyo. Budgeting, logistics, ano yung mga kailangan nyo dalhin. Test, alam nyo naman. Ano yung mga specific na reagents para mag-react sa mga specific na rocks. So, mga yun, ganun. Then, don't forget, syempre, lalagyan na ng samples. Yan yung pinaka-important, and label. Mahirap kasi pag walang label, baka mawala. Diba? So pag nawala yan, baka maghalo-halo, magkaka-problem. Tapos, when you're already there, mahirap. Lalo na pag gold, copper, ang commodity mo, silver, sobrang hirap. Kasi, it requires a lot of experience for you to be sure with that. Kaya nga team eh. When you go there, it's a team. Hindi pwedeng isa lang. Hindi pwede si junior geologist lang. Dapat kasama lang si senior geologist and kung sino pa yung mga susunod. Mga consultant. Yan. Sila yung pinaka-importante sa company, mga consultant. Sobrang blessed mo kung kasama pa sila sa field. Kasi usually, mga season na yung mga yan eh. Season na. So, yun. Matatanda na. So, yun yung isa sa mga requirements sa mineral exploration, yung mga sinabi ko. And then right after, doon magkakaroon na, ang tawag doon, pagdating sa laboratory, tama ba yung mga pinagkukuha mo? Yun yung pagdadasal nyo talaga eh, na sana sa ginawa nating plano, kung saan tayo magdaan, sana may nakita tayo. Gaya nga, because exploration is really tedious. Dito sa Philippines, sabi nga nila, 1 out of 1,000 applications of exploration, isa lang daw yung nagsasucceed, nagiging feasible. I'm not saying doon sa 1,000 na yun ay wala sila nakita. May nakita, pero ang tanong, kikita ba? Yun yun. Okay? Maybe si Paul can share some experiences.
Ako naman as a former exploration geologist, it involves a lot of surveys, preliminary surveys, no, kung saan kailangan mong balikan yung history ng area, hanapin mo yung you have to look for the geological maps, no, satellite imagery. So basically, combination of all the subjects na tinake natin nung college tayo. And then from then, no, doon tayo mag-conduct ng field mapping. Saang area ba yung magandang pag-conductan ng field. So mag-field work kayo, magko-collect tayo ng samples, titingnan natin yung mga minerals na present, ano ba yung commodity na hinahanap natin, copper ba, gold. So we have to look for rocks na say for example mineral tawag ito copper bearing, no, or gold bearing rocks, no. So yun yung mga dapat na hinahanap natin. May fault ba ito? Ganong kalaki yung fault, no? Kapag ba dito tayo nag-drill in the future, marami ba yung makukuha natin? And then after that field work, after getting rock samples, no, it will entail yung geochemistry and geophysics natin, no. So magkasama yan. Marami tayong mga tests, laboratory tests, ipapaasay natin yan. Tapos magko-conduct tayo ng iba't ibang geophysical tawag ito processes, no, para mo-confirm natin yung mga commodities na gusto nating minahin. Medyo matrabaho, no, yung mineral exploration kasi nga ito yung first step and very crucial din sa part natin kasi nga what if magkamali tayo? So parang ang laki ng magagastos ng company i-invest kasi investment yan eh, yung mineral exploration. Parang investment na yan ng company natin kasi parang binayaran ka nila yung expertise mo, so you have to deliver well and dapat yung mga data na ibibigay natin sa kanila ay maayos. So parang ito yung buhay eh, nandito yung magiging future ng minahan. So yun.
So, thank you po sa answers nyo. And always po pong tatandaan na dapat lagi na pong may label para po hindi mawala. Sabi nga po ni Sir Abel. So, with that being said po, it really emphasizes po how much planning and effort goes into even deciding if a site is worth developing. So, thank you po for breaking down yung mga process po. It's clear na there's so much more to exploration than meets the eye.
Now that we've explored mineral exploration, I think let's shift focus to more vital questions kasi we've always wondered about the best practices in the field of geoscience and geological engineering, particularly in the context of mineral exploration, because we think this would be a huge advantage not only for us as an aspiring geologist but also for the viewers natin. So let's discuss about the best practices in the field of geoscience and geological engineering, specifically mineral exploration. So since we all know that a better practices and techniques may be an advantage to better utilization of work, we just wanted to know. So this is a question for Sir Abel. How can we effectively integrate geological, chemical, and geophysical data along with advanced data analytics and machine learning techniques to identify and prioritize potential mineral deposits?
When it comes to integrating geological, geochemical, and geophysical data, it requires not just geologists. Actually, you'll be needing help from your aides, mga geological aides mo, your drilling helpers, your drillers, your exploration, the mining section, the exploration section. You'll be helping each other for that. Kasi sobrang laki ng data niyan and if you're going to compile everything, it will go through a lot of processes, a lot of departments kasi let's say geophysical data. Usually sila yung nauuna eh. That isa yung sa mga backbone natin when it comes to our data. When we have the geophysical data, we create maps, we create sections. Doon papasok si geological. O papasok, sige, to confirm this, syempre hindi pa tayo 100% sure. To confirm this, we need to drill. Saan? Anong gagawin? You need the help of safety para malaman mo kung safe pa dito mag-drill. You will need the help of the mine planning, the mining engineers. Ano ba yung shape? Ano ba yung dapat ganito, ganyan. Dami actually. With their help, malaman nyo kung saan talaga yung mas okay mag-drill and all. So getting the rocks, getting the soil samples, this data, basic properties ng soil, ipapadala mo na yan doon sa laboratory. Doon papasok yung mga chem-eng, doon papasok yung mga chemical process technologies, yan yung papasok yung geochemical data natin. So, ipagbabangga natin yan. With advanced data analytics, syempre gagamit tayo ng ClickSense, gagamit tayo ng mga softwares. Usually, yung mga softwares natin dyan ay paggagawa ng models is AutoCAD, AutoCAD 3D, 360, and many more actually. SURPAC, yan, isa sa mga pinakagamit sa mga mining industry. SURPAC. Okay, when you already analyze yung mga data, doon nyo na malalaman kung sino yung or kung saan. Dito konti lang yung dito, grade. Kasi may geochemical data ka na eh. Dito konti lang yung gold dito. Dito, mas mataas yung grade ng coal dito. Mga, yan. So, mas mura ba? Mas makikita ba tayo pag dito tayo nag-drill? Kahit sabihin na natin mas maraming gold dito sa area na to, magkano ba gagastusin natin para i-excavate to? So, makikipag-usap ka na naman to sa mga sa ibang department kung sino yung mag-excavate ng mga yan. So, ganun siya. It's a dynamic. Sabi nga gaya sinabi ni Sir Paul kanina, it's a really dynamic process. It goes back and forth, and then pag lahat yan ay umabot na sa mga chief, division chief, sa mga heads, they will have their meeting. And doon, kasama syempre si finance and budgeting. So, syempre tatanungin niya, kikita ba tayo dyan? At the end of the day, syempre, kaya nga kayo nagtatrabaho sa isang kumpanya kasi gusto rin kumita ng kumpanya. Diba? So, that's why you're there. Sabi nga ni Sir Paul kanina, tayo is more importante sa exploration. Kasi, pag mali ang na-declare natin, pagsak ako at babalik sa atin yun. Pwede pang matanggalan ng lisensya. Yun yung isa sa mga siguro in a nutshell on how to identify yung potential mineral deposits. But if you really want to dig deeper into that, buti na lang meron tayong Philippine mine law natin because doon niya dinidiscuss in detail kung ano yung mga dapat gawin. Kung kailan ka ba magiging sure. And the reason why meron tayo Philippine Mining Act, it's because, syempre, may mga kamalasan at kapalpakan na nagawa dati ibang geologists. Hanapin nyo na lang sa history kung sino yun. Yung nagawa niya is umikot sa buong mundo. Kasi, pwede niya dayain yung data. So, nung dinaya niya, at nagkagulo-gulo na yun, saka nag-establish ng mga mining law at ibang bansa. So, dahil dyan, mas napaprioritize natin saan yung mineral deposit na mas kikita tayo.
So, thank you so much for those infos. And parang may narinig ako nung sa discussion po namin sa Philippine Mining Act about that. And sana po ay matutunan din po namin actually yung nagamitin yung mga tools and models and GIS models for geology to read and identify and analyze those data accurately. Since sabi nyo nga po kanina na every data is really crucial para kumita ang ating nagiging company and para hindi po tayo malugi. So this one, another question for Sir David naman. What are the most crucial, significant emerging trends and challenges in mineral exploration, particularly in the context of critical minerals and rare earth elements?
To answer your questions, when we say critical minerals and rare earth minerals, from the word itself, rare, I think in the entire world, very parang concentrated lang siya, or only a few countries have these rare earth elements na meron tayo and these critical minerals. Kaya somehow may times na it could lead to geopolitical tensions, and with this syempre yung mga advanced na countries lang yung kayang mag-mine ng mga ganito, and dahil nga concentrated lang siya sa mga few na countries, I think medyo mataas yung magiging demand niya, as compared to gold, copper, and the likes, Isa sa mga challenges siguro kapag kami na natin yung mga ganitong bagay is kung paano natin siya miminahin in a sustainable manner, in parang how environmental friendly yung magiging pagmimina natin, no? Kasi I believe, no, aminin man natin or hindi pa rin tanggap, lalo na sa Pilipinas, yung pagmimina, kasi ang notion ng mga tao kapag nagmimina ay sinisira natin yung kalikasan. And partly true, no, nagmimina tayo, nasisira natin yung bundok, no, pero it can be done in a sustainable manner. Kaya mahalaga na meron tayong plano, yung rehabilitation after nating magmina. And I think Rio Tuba is one of the living testaments on how a sustainable mining company operates, no. And mabalik tayo, no, when we say trends when it comes to REEs and critical elements, I think kailangan nating mag-integrate dito ng new technologies, no. So kailangan natin ng pondo, kailangan ng malaking pondo when it comes to that, kasi nga kung third world country ka lang, paano mamimina yung mga ganong klaseng bagay, no. So hindi naman pwedeng gamitin natin yung mga common or yung mga technology na meron tayo ngayon, no, yung mga machineries na meron tayo. So I think medyo challenging siya, lalo na sa bansang Pilipinas, although I think the supply or the demand for these critical minerals and REEs are very much higher.
Thank you for those infos po. It was really great to hear that most of the things that you have shared with us offered a great opportunity for us to better understand the things that we have to consider in the field. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is the future of geology, influence of artificial intelligence or AI in mineral exploration.
So this is a question po for Sir Abel. It is about AI on mineral exploration. How is AI revolutionizing mineral exploration from accelerating discovery to minimizing environmental impact?
Marami na nakita, a lot of companies have been using AI, their companies, mining companies, globally. Dito sa Philippines, meron naman na, there are some, okay, I can name siguro some, like Temerara, Oceana Gold, these are one of the companies that are using AI in their field of mining. Not everything, but maybe one example is analyzing data sets. So there are a lot of data, gaya na I mentioned a while ago, there are a lot of data to be integrated and to be collected. And it takes time to really analyze, especially the sector heads. Oras talaga yung nasasayang sa pag-analyze pa lang. With AI, it really helps them analyze faster. Tapos, mas nalalaan nila yung oras sa mag-analyze sa iba pang bagay. And second is when it comes to modeling, yung predictive modeling nila. So, if there are softwares na integrate yung ibang AI wherein you will just input what kind of commodity you want, what kind of deposit, tapos what kind of rocks do you have, what are the shear strength, what are the everything, lahat ng mga properties of the rocks and strengths. After you input everything, they will predict. After na ibigay mo lahat ng mga borehole logs, log sheets, they will predict, ganito yung shape ng ng deposit mo, ganito yung length ng target mo. 'Di ba? At least doon, the AI will give you 1, 2, 3 models, and then with the help of you confirming it and your experience as a consultant, it really helps. Mapapabilis talaga. Lastly, siguro in terms of mineral exploration, is yung automating target identification. Maybe we can say in that term. Kasi ang hirap minsan na mag-determine sa lab ang tagal. So there are certain laboratories, machines that really boost up the identification of some minerals. Kunyari, ang gusto ko lang i-target, sa batong to, ito lang. Gusto ko itong mineral lang. Gusto ko ganitong element lang. May mga XRF, XRD naman mas high-tech na ngayon compared to dati. So, in terms of minimizing environmental impact, there are some, masyado siyang mahal actually, million talaga ang cost. Like detecting movements, diba? Environmental impact, iwasan natin yung landslide, iwasan natin yung damage sa mga nearby communities pag prone sila sa landslide. There are ground satellites that can be built that can detect 2 millimeters movement from 3 kilometers apart. Imagine sa ruler mo yung 2 mm, gumalaw lang yung isang buhangi. 2 mm, tapos 3 kilometers away, kaya niya. So that's how AI can help us. Kasi mapapabilis nila yung alert system na, oy, pag ganito movement na hindi na safe dyan, alis na yung mga truck dyan, alis na yung mga tao dyan. So that's one, helping the people working in that. I haven't seen any of this yet sa mga communities, sa government level. But I hope if meron man, this can improve and reduce the risk and hazard sa ibang mga areas. So, yeah.
So ayan, 'di ba? Nakakamangha talaga yung mga bagay na nagagawa ng AI. And we can't really deny the fact na it is really helpful and makes our work easier and faster in many ways. So another question, and this question is for Sir David. So for you, what are the major economic, technical, and societal challenges in adopting AI in mineral exploration, especially in developing countries like the Philippines, and also in regions reliant on traditional mining practices?
Number one, when it comes to economic challenges, and while we are living in the Philippines and we are considered to be parang a developing country or a third world country, initially, parang when it comes to economics, hindi talaga para natin pa siya kaya, medyo higher yung initial cost niya kapag nag-transition tayo from the traditional mining practice to AI. And alam naman natin na mas pipiliin pa rin natin yung traditional mining practices natin kasi nga mas nakasanayan, and we Filipinos we have tendency na magreklamo, yung adaptability natin to change, ayan yung isa sa mga nakikita ko. Pero when it comes to some economic challenges, high yung initial cost ng AI kasi nga nagbo-boom pa lang siya sa ngayon, and baka magkaroon tayo ng limited access to capital when it comes to that, unless meron tayong malaking investor dun sa company. And when it comes to technical challenges naman, I believe na complex kasi yung AI and it will entail a lot of professionals, especially mga programmers, hindi lang geologists yung kailangan nating i-hire when it comes to that. I think magiging malaking factor dito yung mga IT graduates natin and computer science graduates integrating mining practices sa AI natin. And I think right now, yung data availability natin hindi pa ganun kadami, or konti pa lang, and some data are already outdated na and kailangan na natin siyang i-update, so I think medyo mahihirapan tayo, especially kapag nag-transition tayo from the traditional to AI sa mga far-flung areas natin. Yung sa societal challenges naman, baka mahirapan tayo dun sa mga tao sa mga locals, no? Kasi nga medyo hirap din talaga sila na mag-adapt to change due to their culture, no? Kailangan marunong tayo makisama sa kanila and i-adapt natin yung culture nila. Kaya nga tayo merong parang communications officer doon para ma-communicate ng maayos, no? Pero kung hindi sila papayag, ano yung maaari nating gawin, no? Kasi nga paano pag hindi sila pumayag? So mako-continue pa ba natin yung pagmimina? Syempre hindi na. And then if we're going to integrate AI sa pagmimina, baka magkaroon ng pagkabawas sa mga nagtatrabaho. Kasi nga syempre new technology to, so computer based na siya. So hindi na ganun kadami yung maaari nating i-hire. So baka magkaroon ng issue, alam naman natin na kapag kasaminahan, usually yung mga kinukuha nating workers ay yung mga locals din dun sa area, no? And ayun, when it comes to societal challenges, no, baka mahirapan din tayo sa gobyerno natin kasi nga panibagong batas na naman yung hihingi nila regarding this, yung when it comes to regulatory problems ng AI, no. So malaking usapin 'yan, no, dito sa Pilipinas, especially na ayan, lahat na lang ay naging issue dito. And hindi din ganun kasuportado ng gobyerno yung siyensya. I think kailangan munang suportahan ng gobyerno or bigyan muna ng malaking budget yung science, Department of Science and Technology bago maisakatuparan yung mga bagay-bagay na to.
I think that's fascinating po because it highlights the dual challenge of harnessing AI's transformative potential in mineral exploration, particularly in a developing country like the Philippines. Imagine nga po yung alert system po na sinabi niya. Grabe yung possibilities na kayang gawin ng AI. Pero syempre, there are types of people talaga na they will see this as a downside or violation of what they used to do or what they believe in their traditional way. Kumbaga kung sa iba, it will be a huge step to change, especially financially and in their traditions, just like what Mr. David said. Kasi baka maging education-based ang maging process po ng mining or mineral exploration po sa kanilang area.
So, tunay naman po talagang malaking tulong po sa ating mga tao, especially na po sa aming estudyante ng AI po. And sana po with this, mas maging open po ang mga geologists or the public po when it comes to the advantages of AI in the process and sa mga exploration po na gagawin pa natin. So with that being said po, let's go to the next part where most of us are curious about. So it is the experts' advice and reflections.
Ayan, manghihingi naman po kami ngayon ng advice from you po. For our young listeners who might be considering a career in geology, what advice would you give them, or are there any skills or experiences they should focus on developing, especially to those who just graduated and are new in this profession?
Siguro, una, I would like to congratulate siguro yung mga bagong pumasa na geologist itong nakaraan. And for those na hindi nakapasa, it's at the end of time pa. Just take and take lang. Hindi naman yan yung pagbibigay ng identity mo. Then for those who are in the undergrad pa, taking geology right now, tuloy lang, mahirap. It's a very hard course. Wala namang madaling course actually. That it takes a lot of memorization, it takes a lot of analysis. So you need to juggle up different skills. Siguro one of the skills that you really need is paano mo makikitungo sa mga tao. Because when it comes to work, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to different relationships, classmates man, you really need to get along with people. Gaya nga ng isang professor namin, sinasabi, geologist din, sabi ay, sa pagka-graduate mo, when you work, only 20% na pinag-aralan mo ma-apply mo, 80% of it is pakikisama. That's how it goes. And for those who are thinking, ano bang course yung gusto kong kunin, mga nasa STEM dyan, Pwede nyo kunin ng geology if you really love the wonders of the earth. So you can have a work that you can travel around the Philippines for free. Dahil sa work mo, you really want to be in the field. Or you can go to other places. So geology will be a stepping stone to other courses like astronomy, masters in ganito. There are a lot of, tandaan nyo, there are a lot of sponsorships when it comes to masters and doctorate degree sa ibang bansa. Libre, promise, marami. So, just take those opportunities. Pagsikapan nyo lang. Bawal lang, hindi naman sa bawal. Kung meron kang sakit sa katawan, like asthma or anything, but you really want to pursue this, palagaan mo na sarili mo, pwede mo naman kunin pa rin yung course. Yun lang. I hope huwag kayo kukuha ng geology dahil mataas lang ang sahod. And sa para sa mga graduate na nakakawa lang ng license, I hope and pray na huwag kayo mag-expect ng higher salary agad here in the Philippines. Ano ba to? Ito lang yung I know na tumataas ang bilihin and all. We really need high salary paying jobs. Sa umpisa, you need to sacrifice. Ako, parang after ilang years bago ako nakakuha ng high salary job. And I'm thankful of it sa paghihintay ko doon sa mga iba kasi experience yung kinuha ko. Okay, kahit magaling ka pa, kahit top 1 ka pa ng class, you really need to pass this sa baba bago ka umangat. Yun lang. Stay on the ground.
Ayan. Sa akin naman, tatlong bagay yung gusto kong iwan sa inyo. Number one is to always believe in yourself kasi at the end of the day, wala tayong mahihinga ng tulong kundi sarili lang natin, no? Yung mga kaklase natin or mga kaibigan natin, nandun din sila, nilalabanan din nila yung sarili nila, no? Kasi mas pipiliin mo na lang na bumagsak sa mangopya, no? Minsan kasi hindi maiiwasan na mawalan tayo ng tiwala sa sarili natin, especially sa undergrad, na bakit si ganito, alam niya yung topic na ganito, ako hindi ko alam yon, no? Ganun talaga, may mga bagay na kailangan nating ulit-ulitin para matutunan natin, and that leads me to the number 2 point na when you fail, you have to start again and keep going. Kasi nga failure is just a pause in your life, no? Kapag ka bumagsak ka, hindi nangangahulugan na tapos na yung buhay mo. There's always tomorrow waiting for you. Ang kailangan mo lang ay bumangon, no? Magsimula ulit and then keep going, no? Hindi ako pumasa sa unang take ko ng board exam, and that's okay. And I think that was a redirection for me because it opened another door for me, no? As geology graduates, marami tayong opportunities na pwede nating i-grab outside the field, no? Kahit wala ka namang lisensya, may mga minahan na tumatanggap sa'yo. Pwede kang magturo, pwede kang sa field ng DRRM tulad ko ngayon, no? May mga kaklase ako na mas pinili nila na magtrabaho sa office kaysa magtrabaho sa field. May kilala ako na higher year, I think kilala din Abel, no? Nag-pursue siya ng IT, no? So yun. Tuloy lang tayo kapag bumagsak, and then mag-start tayo ulit, and then there you go. And then number 3, if you think that geology is not for you, no, you can always pursue your dreams after taking up geology, just like what I did, no? As what I have mentioned, I've always wanted to become an educator, a teacher, and so after finishing geology, I studied certificate in teaching, and then I passed the board exams. So at least, no, kahit papano, nagagamit ko yung napag-aralan ko sa undergrad, which is geology, sa pagtuturo, and nakita ko din na naging advantage siya, no, na pag geology graduate ka, malaki yung chance na ma-hire ka kasi nga major mo yung earth science Hindi naman sa minamaliit ko yung ibang mga subjects, no? Kasi kapag kumuha ka ng parang Bachelor of Secondary Education, usually general science siya, chemistry, physics, or biology. So wala talagang concentrate doon sa earth science. So ayun, no. Yun yung mga may iwan ko sa inyong advice. Huwag titigil na abutin yung pangarap, and then wag mo nang maghahangad ng malaking sahod kasi dadating tayo sa point na tayo naman yung pupunta doon. Kuha lang tayo ng experience, no? Kapag hindi natin nagustuhan, marami namang kumpanya dyan na natatanggap sa atin. Remember, you are a geoscientist. No, you are unique and you are a rock star. So keep going.
Thank you po sa mga advice niyo po. We will make sure po na magagamit namin ito sa field na ito. And ako po, as a aspiring geologist, mas nakagain po ako ng mga idea based po sa experiences niyo po, lalo na pagdating sa mga fieldwork. And feel ko po, mas na-ignite po nito yung love ko for this program po. And hopefully matapos namin itong program na ito and maging geologist in the near future. I think that's a wrap for today's journey through the rocks, minerals, and mysteries beneath our feet. It reveals that geology is filled with incredible stories just waiting to be told, and we are thrilled to have you along for the ride. And baka po meron po kayong gusto i-add or sa ating mga viewers or i-shout out in this program po.
Abel, tanungin natin sila, no? Ano kayang mga takeaways nila or anong nilolook forward nila after graduating geology? So, syempre dapat meron din tayong makuha sa kanila.
Oo nga. Kahit konti lang.
Grabe naman po yun. For me po, I think yung takeaway ko po sa session na po ito is yung I learned po na yung being adaptable po sa environment po natin is really important in this, especially in this field. Not only with the people around you po or sa workmates po natin, but also sa areas po mismo na pinupuntahan natin. Like yung sa climate, yung sa situation, and yung situations po na madadatnan po natin once na nasa field na po tayo. Ika nga po nila expect the unexpected po. Ayun po.
For me naman po, after matapos po itong field na to, parang mas gugustuhin ko po magtrabaho sa field kaysa sa office po. Kasi po, based po sa experience niyo po, kahit nandun po yung pagod, sabi niyo nga po, kahit nandun po yung pagod, yung hirap po, when it comes to field po, parang nandun naman po yung saya kasi as an adventurous person po, kahit po unpredictable siya, yung mga mangyayari, nagkakaroon po tayo ng experiences dun sa mga nangyayaring yun. Ayun po.
Talks naman.
Ako naman po. Ang takeaway ko po ay yung learn to adapt po sa changes and makisalamuha po sa mga tao po, sa mga locals, tsaka po sa mga kasama nyo sa trabaho or sa kasama nyo sa field. Kasi po na-experience din po namin na pag mabait, yung past field work po namin na pag mabait ka sa mga tao sa paligid mo, madali ka nilang tinutulungan, lalo na po sa mga locals. Ang babait po nila pag mabait ka sa kanila. And isa po sa tumatak talaga po sa akin dito ay sinabi po ni Sir David na life goes on po even though you fail. So tumatak po talaga yun sa akin kasi ganito na rin po yung nararanasin namin mga students. Nagfe-fail din po kami and malaking bagay po yung sinabi nyo sa amin na yung advice nyo pong yun kasi po para na-push pa po lalo kami na tapusin po itong course na ito. Yun lang.
For me naman po, yung mas tumatak po sa akin is yung sabi niya po na yung sa discipline. Kasi not always tayo as a geologist or in the field, hindi po tayo lagi ang mag-a-adjust sa kasi tayo kumbaga magiging dapat po sa ibang lugar, always be the student. Kumbaga, lagi kang magtatanong, lagi kang magiging humble sa lahat ng pinupuntahan mo. Most especially sa field po. Kasi lahat po ng mararanasan po doon ay hindi po natin kontrolado. Kumbaga, lagi dapat tayong handa and lagi dapat tayong adaptable nga sa lahat ng pwedeng mangyari. And also din po sa AI, I think na sobrang laking tulong po talaga ng AI, and I think kapag naging open po ang mga companies or yung mga sa Pilipinas, I think that would be a huge advantage not only on the process but also on the accurate data po. Lastly din po ay yung pong sinabi po ni Mr. David Paul Mendoza na failure is not the actual kabaliktaran ng success. Kumbaga, yung failure is a process para makuha mo yung success. Yun po.
Dami nila natutunan sa'yo, Sir Paul. Iba talaga.
Hindi yan. Anyway, salamat ulit, no? And I hope na magkita-kita tayo sa field in the future. Kung hindi man sa minahan, no? Baka sa gobyerno tayo magkita-kita. Ayun.
Oo.
So once again, thank you for sharing your expertise with us and providing insights for our young listeners. This will surely help a lot of aspiring geologists and those who are currently working in this profession. Thank you for your time and collaboration. Just like the layers of rock tell a story, our shared experiences add layers of knowledge and growth. Until our paths cross again, stay grounded and keep exploring. So until next time, keep wondering, keep exploring, and keep uncovering the incredible layers of our planet. It's the Dirt on Geology, unraveling a geologist's adventure. We'll see you next time, and may your journey be as stable as the strongest bedrock. Goodbye and all the best in your endeavors. Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank
Thank
you.
you!